UW360 is proudly supported by BECU, a not-for-profit member-owned credit union. Pacific Office Automation, copy, print, workflow, and IT. Problem solved.
Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW360. In this episode, we'll follow seagoing scientists to the North Pacific in search of stormy weather, discover what it takes to create a truly healthy community, and learn how to avoid the all-too-common problem of information overload. We'll also drop by the Montlake Cut to see freshman rowing sensation Eleni Englert in action. But our first story is all about the drama, which is why we're here at the UW's Glenn Hughes Penthouse Theater, the very first theater in the round built in the United States. Graduate students in the UW's Professional Actor Training Program are chosen through auditions all over the country, and only 8 at a time are accepted. Kimberly Wood is one of those fortunate few.
University of Washington was my #1 choice. So when I auditioned and they said yes, I don't think I could say yes fast enough over the phone.
Let's start with some basics. When it's really fast and hot on the outside, that's another way to think about it. What can be cool and slow on the inside?
To succeed as an actor, you have to love it. To succeed in the University of Washington's Professional Actor Training Program, you have to be committed.
We're here in class or teaching class from 9 to 5 every day. We also have rehearsals 6:30 to 10:30 at night, and sometimes on weekends as well. So we run about a 14-hour day, normally Monday through Friday.
That's part of what we're looking at in that response to partner.
We've managed to find a kind of pedagogy that for the undergraduates is focused more on sort of a breadth of experience, getting to see lots of different kinds of techniques, not really going deep, but going broad. In the Professional Actor Training Program, the idea is to drill down and to go deeper.
Where are the fingernails?
We add movement and voice. We focus a lot on their movement into the profession, resumes and taxes and marketing yourself, how to audition. So there's a different set of practical skills that are a lot more about getting work.
Students leave the program with a Master of Fine Arts degree and some life lessons. They've learned that they'll need to rely on teaching, directing, costume and set production, even an unrelated second job to make a living in the early years of their careers, possibly forever. While they're at the UW, they can choose to teach for both experience and income. The faculty also helps them land appointments with agents and casting directors.
It's actually not just about becoming a better actor, but it's about also selling the product that you are. You are a product now yourself that you have to sell.
The play is called Loose Knit. It's by Teresa Rebeck.
And part of that is selling a character.
Clearly this isn't working out. I'm going to find a cab.
No. Please, continue.
Why should I? If it doesn't matter whether I'm telling the truth, why should I keep talking? I mean, I can say anything, right? And it might be the truth and it might be a lie and you'll write it down.
One aspect of live performance is being ready for anything.
Well, things go wrong all the time in theater, and someone maybe forgets lines or a prop falls.
Having the napkins and chopsticks fly off the table was an accident, but the actors stayed cool.
And they started blowing at him, and I thought, well, we'll just go with that. They're falling over, so I'll shove them at him because my character was very angry. And then I was like, well.
When Kim admits what happened to the instructor, he sees a lesson.
I saw Liz get rattled for a moment, but then decide that won't rattle me. Everything we can do, everything we do can advance the story. Everything.
We're on the way here.
Yes, yes.
So what are you finding out so far?
We want to ensure that our students are well enough prepared to handle any kind of performance activity, whether that's a play, whether it's television, whether it's a web series, whether it's voiceover work.
What happened to the fun of a good debate?
Our students, many of them do work summer stock and hone their skills there.
There are a lot of Shakespeare companies that hire for summer work, which is really great and one of my passions, so I really enjoy that. I'd really love to work for Oregon Shakespeare Festival. That's a big dream of mine, to have a major role on their stage.
If passion and commitment mean anything, that dream may just come true.
That was big.
We challenge them, we hold out a very high standard for the students, and they're incredibly creative. I mean, they surprise us every day with what's possible.
That really makes me hot. To learn more about programs and performances here at the UW School of Drama, you'll find a link on our website, uwtv.org/UW360. And stay with us for a wild ride on some stormy seas as UW360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. We're heading out to sea now with scientists from the UW's Applied Physics Laboratory as they search for better ways to forecast waves. Grab a hold of something steady as we take you aboard.
Scientists from the Applied Physics Laboratory at the University of Washington set out for the North Pacific in search of rough weather, intense wind, and large waves to study the balance of wind and wave energy. The goal, to improve notoriously unreliable wave forecasts.
This project has been to study wave breaking in mixed seas, and that's a sea that has both swell, has waves that are old and big and long, and then has waves that are small, short wind waves that are made locally. There are very few measurements of waves in the open ocean. We don't really know how well the forecast models do. There's still a lot of room for improvement.
Wave spectrum.
Jim Thompson chronicled the expedition for the New York Times Scientist at Work blog.
Today we arrived at Ocean Station Papa, which is one of the oldest measurement sites in the world. Since 2010, we've had a mooring at Station Papa, our Wave Rider mooring. That's the mooring that we're here to recover and replace. During this experiment, the largest waves we saw were 4.5 meters, almost 5 meters, which is still a very large wave and contains a lot of energy and is really representative of most of what's happening in the ocean a lot of the time. You know, the maximum winds we observed were 30 knots. Again, that's really representative of a rough day on the ocean. Till our mooring was deployed 2 years ago, there were no measurements of the waves at Station Papa. Over this 2-year time series, we're able to see what is the long-term result of this breaking process. And the long-term result is to keep the waves in balance with the winds. So when the winds become strong and a storm comes through, that's a lot of energy being put into the ocean. But a very large fraction of that is actually going directly into breaking. We call that equilibrium.
On a day when we were taking a lot of data, when there was good breaking going on, we would throw out 2 swifts and one of the small wave rider buoys.
A swift. It's a buoy that drifts and moves with the waves. And the idea is to make all of our measurements in a reference frame that follows the waves.
That's where the coupling of the swift measurements and the video measurements is really key. The key thing really is that the swifts can say what's going on in the water. They say this is what the turbulence is doing, and the video that we take can say, and this is what waves are breaking that have created all this turbulence.
And the energy really is the key thing that we're looking for, because when a wave breaks, it loses energy. So as the wave is formed, it gains energy from the wind. When it breaks, it loses energy. So the net of those two things is what gives you a wave field a day later. Right? So if we want to improve a wave forecast for the Navy or for the Merchant Marine or for anyone, we need to understand how much energy is going into the waves and how much energy is coming out of the waves. So we need to be able to do that across all different wave sizes and shapes.
Well, as you can imagine, those wave forecasts are invaluable to ship captains as they prepare for what lies ahead. Now, back on dry land, we're talking about the storm of information that we're pounded with every day. It's easy to get overwhelmed by it all, but there are some tricks to handling that information overload.
New technology. Is it bombarding us with too much information?
We want to be able to go faster and be more productive, but we don't want to fall off the edge.
David Levy is a computer scientist by training. As a professor in the UWI school, Levy focuses on the cultural pressures of being involved with new technologies.
10 years ago, people might have debated whether information overload was a problem. And certainly if you look at the scholarship, the historical scholarship, there have been other times in history when people have complained about information overload. But what is, I think, objectively true today is that there has never been so much information that we have had access to.
David Levy says there could be a problem with all this.
There are many good things that come from having access to so much information, but one of the challenges that we face is something that I'm feeling at this very moment as I'm having this conversation with you, which is it's very hard for me to stay concentrated on what I'm actually trying to talk about. The extent of the distractions that are available to us now as I stand on this corner make it actually rather challenging for me to engage in the kind of conversation that I actually want to have. It's an actual example in microcosm what I think all of us are dealing with as we sit at our computers, as we have access to our smartphones and so on.
Levy says research shows human beings need to focus on one thing in order to do it really well. When we go faster and faster and try to juggle too many things at once, we lose touch with what's actually happening in the present moment.
And I'm feeling totally overloaded and overwhelmed at this very moment in the middle of this interview, and I'm thinking, am I actually capable of articulating myself to the best extent I can, given all the people that are running around and the fact that I'm almost shouting and the cameraman is across there telling me when to start and when to stop. Oi, is all I can say.
Levy doesn't think our insatiable desire for more information is necessarily bad. The key, he says, is finding a proper balance between new technology and the human experience. And that balance will be different for each individual.
There are people who would say, you know, I'm perfectly happy spending time playing video games or being on my computer all the time. I'm the last person that's going to try to tell somebody like that they should be trying to live a different kind of life. Maybe it actually is right for that person. What I can tell you is that there are plenty of people who don't feel comfortable with living that kind of life, and who actually in some sense long for these other dimensions of life, for being out in nature, for having time to read and think more deeply, but feel that the pressures of life and the demands on them make it hard for them to do it. The challenge we now face in relation to having so much information, good as it may be, is that we now need to discern when we need to make use of certain forms of information, and when we need to sort of let go of it and move on to other things.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with what makes a truly healthy community as UW360 continues. Welcome back to UW360. When we choose our place to live or work, we may not realize just how greatly those choices can affect our health for years to come. Dean Howard Frumpkin from the UW School of Public Health gave me a crash course on what it takes to make the environment around us safe. What makes us healthy? It goes far beyond just eating right and exercising. According to Dean Howard Frumpkin of the University of Washington School of Public Health, it also means maintaining a healthy built environment. From everything to the air we breathe, to the roads we navigate, to the parks we maintain.
I'm absolutely passionate about the idea that we can create great places for people to be.
Dean Frumpkin is a global expert on built environments. He's literally written the book on how to build and maintain healthier communities. He's dedicated his career to teaching people what that means and why it matters.
You can draw direct lines from the way we create the places in which we spend time to the conditions that we may suffer from. That's why this is so important. Creating good habitat is a very powerful way to promote good health.
He defines a built environment as all the places we live, work, study, and play that are designed and built by people. He identifies many basic needs for a healthy human habitat. He shared 7 of those needs with me, starting with physical activity.
So the public health strategy is build routine physical activity into our daily lives. Now, if you have good infrastructure so that people are seduced into walking or biking to school or work, many of them will get their daily quota of physical activity just by doing that.
Next on Dean Frumpkin's list, good air quality and helping people avoid breathing exhaust. Street safety comes next, which includes creating well-marked street crossings and bike lanes, or better yet, keeping bikes and vehicles separated when possible.
Good intersections matter a lot. Bad intersections are dangerous. Bike routes that are on busy streets, where bikes and cars have to share the same stretch of asphalt, are potentially dangerous. But bike routes on secondary streets, on side streets, that divert the bicycle traffic away from the car traffic, reduce the chances of encounters between cars and bikes, which never end well for the cyclists.
Noise is another concern. Dean Frumpkin says too much of it can increase our stress and blood pressure and even suppress our immune systems. One way to counteract that stress is by maintaining strong social bonds. Dean Frumpkin calls this basic need social capital. And he says the UW's newly renovated hub offers an excellent example of a built environment that promotes social capital, a great place to bond with our fellow humans.
Those sorts of social bonds are very important, and we care about them in health because they are very strong predictors of longer life and healthier life. People who have better, stronger social networks are healthier people.
Access to nature is another crucial human need. Dean Frumpkin says regular strolls through a park like the Arboretum, or even just viewing trees through a window every day, can improve your health and extend your life. So can eating fresh, healthy food, the 7th basic human need on Frumpkin's list. Having easy access to it at farmers markets or just good stores is also critical to a healthy life. It's a lot to consider when we choose where to live and work.
You know, I find that when I walk into a place, I look at it with diagnostic eyes. I look at it almost as a physician diagnosing a patient. Here I am, a public health physician diagnosing a place. Sometimes I see things that really throw me for a loop.
But he's optimistic about the future. He sees a global trend toward healthier built environments. And with experts like Howard Frumpkin leading the way, we may all look forward to living in a safer, healthier world.
And I think that the city of 50 years from now, where our grandchildren will be living, will be a healthier, greener city than what we've come to take for granted.
If you'd like to learn more about healthy built environments, just check out the UW School of Public Health's website. You can go to our website and you'll find the link there. And stay with us. We meet a champion in the making as UW360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. Our final story today takes us back out on the water to the Montlake Cut, where the championship UW crew teams tough it out in all kinds of weather. And for freshman Elaine Englert, there's an additional challenge as well.
Elaine Englert was born to be an athlete. It runs in the family.
I think having 3 brothers made me really competitive. Whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do my best at it.
Elaine was also born with Stargardt's disease, an inherited form of macular degeneration that affects young people. She was diagnosed in the 5th grade.
What I have is it's pretty much essentially a blind spot in the center of my vision, right around the optic nerve on the retina. So pretty much it's like holding your fist right in front of your face.
As she grew up, Elaine watched that blind spot grow, blocking more of her sight. In middle school, she continued to play basketball and volleyball using her peripheral vision.
For shooting, like I'd look at the basket, but you can't see the basket, so you kind of like, you go off like clues, but we had the problem of I'd go up to block or I would try and receive a pass and the ball would go straight to my face. So we're kind of like, we need to find another sport.
That's when Elaine discovered crew, and she never looked back.
Up and overhead, ready, up, toes to the edge.
It was a big part of her college search. and it led her to the University of Washington.
We were looking for really good disability resources, so like access and technology, and if I could get note takers and work in Braille, and then I wanted a really good rowing program because I knew I definitely wanted to keep rowing. And then I wanted like really high caliber academics too.
Her guide dog is Briggs, and he helps Eleni get around campus. But once on the water, she says her visual impairment actually has some advantages.
On the water, she has a really good sense of feeling the motion of the boat and hearing the movement in the boat.
In rowing, I feel like if you don't look sometimes, it helps you because you can feel what everyone's doing and feel what you're doing. When I get in the water, I just think, okay, I'm gonna pay attention and try and pick a few things this practice and just try and make them perfect.
A few accommodations are necessary. During training on rowing machines, Eleni can't see the data output that tells her how hard and how fast she's rowing.
And so we're looking into getting special devices that actually fit onto the rowing ergometer that give her auditory cues every time interval, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds.
UW Crew has a history of Olympic gold, and Eleni may join that elite group someday. In 2012, she was part of the U.S. Paralympics team in London.
The sky is the limit for her. Eleni's a competitor, but she's, as much as she's a competitor, she's a team player. And so that's one of the things that makes it easy to love Eleni, is that she likes all of her teammates and she's 100% behind everyone.
And someday, when college is over and rowing is just for fun, Eleni plans a career of continuing to support others.
In a long term, I would really like to be a lawyer and do like disability advocacy, because like the problems I went through in school shouldn't have to be dealt with by other blind students. I think I would really like to go into some kind of field where I can change that a little bit.
That's it for this edition of UW360. You can catch this episode again on our website, uwtv.org/UW360, where you'll also find links to more information on everything we've covered today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with all news stories from the University of Washington.
Wardrobe for Carolyn Douglas is provided by C'est La Vie, located in downtown Edmonds and in Renton at The Landing.